All right, so let's just settle into our meditation. Try and bring your mind inward. So I know we've probably all got busy days today, different kinds of running around. So this half hour is just for you, just for yourself, to enable us to go inside. So just check your feet. If you are sitting at your desk, about a hip's width apart, be on top of your sits bones and lengthen the spine. And just imagine it's a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen, putting some space in between the vertebrae. Just have your hands relaxed in your lap or on your thighs, wherever it's comfortable. Take a nice deep breath. And then just from the crown of your head, just start to release the scalp and the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, back of the head, back of the neck, the throat. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. Again, take another breath. And just be aware of any sounds in your environment. And just allow those sounds to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And then notice the thoughts that are arising this morning. Maybe you can put labels to those thoughts: memory, emptiness, thinking about our meditation, thinking. Maybe you have so many thoughts you don't know how to categorize them. It could be either thinking or maybe just busy. And then just put them on this cloud or on your lotus or in a helium balloon and just allow that to just drift away. You can blow it away the same way that we blow a dandelion flower. And then just put ourselves on the bank of our river and watch that river. Is it clear? Is it muddy? Regardless, while you're sitting on that bank, you're free from the river. So bring to mind all the people of your life, your very dear friends, loved ones. And then your ones that you don't like particularly. And then there's our strangers. So this idea of impermanence also is related to emptiness. Because we're all running along our own karmic track. Things change, minds change, circumstances happen. So that person who is your stranger, you never knew before, becomes your dearest friend. So then there's this whole idea of everyone being equal. Because I have to say, the person I don't like is definitely doesn't have the same qualities as the one I love. But deep down, at their core, actually they do. Everyone's the same. Excuse me, they all have this wish to be happy, to be free from suffering, and having this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we're going to just think a little bit about emptiness today. It's a very simple meditation, kind of basic. So slowly become aware of this thing we call I. You know, we're always referring to ourselves. Who or what is it that thinks? Who is it that feels? And who is it that meditates? Who is it that drives the car, goes to class, does our jobs? And how does that person appear to you? Is this a creation of your own mind, or is it something that exists kind of in a concrete way, independently? And is it sitting there on its own? So this I, would you find it in your head? Maybe it's in your eyes, in your heart. Is your I in your stomach or your feet? Or even in your toes? So carefully consider each part of your body, including all of your organs and your blood vessels and your nerves. And can you find your I? It might be really small and very subtle. Perhaps it's in the cellular structure of the body. So if you've decided that your I is part of the body, then what would happen if that part were removed in an operation or damaged in an accident? And then when you die and your body's no longer functioning, what happens to the I? Perhaps the mind is the I. So in Buddhism, the mind is regarded as a constantly changing stream of thoughts, feelings, and other experiences. It's all coming and going in rapid succession. So you might notice this at the beginning of the meditation when we start to look at what is there in the mind today. And you'll notice it's never the same from one moment to the next. So the moment you start to focus in on the mind, you'll notice if you do your meditation at the same time every day, as we're doing in the evening, you might notice that your mind state is different from day to day, depending on what's happened during the day. So it's kind of rapidly changing. Our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences, all coming and going. So which one of these particular experiences could be your I? And is it this morning's loving thought? Yesterday's angry thought? yesterday's happy feeling, this morning's depressed feeling. And if you think your I is one of these experiences, then what happens when that kind of experience is not present in your mind? So if your I is love, where does that love go when your mind is filled with anger? Does it disappear altogether, or has it just gone off to the side for a moment? So is there, if your mind is love, if your I is love, then where did that I go when you're angry? So maybe you have many I's, different ones for different emotions and different experiences. So if you can't find the I in your body or your mind, this kind of concrete thing that we regard to as ourselves, then could it be something else? Is it some extra part of you other than your body and your mind? Because we do say my body, my mind, and we imply the existence of something else that is owning these two things. So if that is the case, what is it, and where can we find it? What kind of phenomena is it? So now just go back to where we were in the beginning and just look at the way your I is appearing now. When you say, I am going to have breakfast after meditation, how was that appearing and feeling to you? Is it as solid and real as you felt before? Does it still appear to exist independently in and of itself? So now, just in your mind, imagine disintegrating your body and imagine all the atoms separating and floating apart. Billions and billions of tiny particles scattering throughout space. And just imagine that you can see this. You can imagine it in the form of light. And now your mind. Just let every thought, every feeling, every sensation and perception just float away. And then check your feeling of the I. Where is it? Where did it go? What is it? So don't go to the other extreme of nihilism where we think my body is not the I and my mind is not the I, therefore I don't exist. You do exist, but just not in the way you feel you do, as something independent and inherent. So conventionally, you exist in dependence upon mind and body, and this combination is this basis to which we ascribe a name, I, or self, or your name, Coral, Mary, Harold. And this is the you that is sitting and meditating and wondering, do I exist? And whatever exists is necessarily dependent upon causes and conditions or parts and names for its existence. So a car, for example, your car, if you have a car, Or maybe if you just go by public transport. So imagine that public transport is just a collection of pieces of steel and plastic and glass and rubber and engine as put together by people in a factory, and we give it the name car or truck or bus or train. But if you're to look for a real, concrete, independently existing car or train or bus, it can't be found. So conventionally, things do exist dependently. And understanding dependence is the principal cause for understanding their ultimate nature, emptiness. So the conventional nature of an object is its dependence upon other things. And its ultimate nature is its emptiness of inherent, independent existence. So for your body, for example, it exists conventionally in dependence upon skin and blood and bones and legs and arms and organs. And they all need to be working. And in turn, each of these exists in dependence upon their own parts, cells, atoms, and all of this needs to be working. The blood needs to be correct at a cellular level. Otherwise, everything goes cattywampus. So for anybody who's had any kind of serious illness, or any kind of illness, everything's out of whack. And you know you're not working properly, you can't think properly. So you know your body is dependent upon all the parts working. So now the mind. I think this one's easy to track, really. So when you look at a particular thought, sort of allow a thought to arise in the mind. And the mind is existing in dependence upon all these thoughts, feelings, perceptions, and sensations. And in turn, each of these exists in dependence upon the previous conscious experience that gave rise to it. So maybe we can do a little meditation on the continuity of consciousness, and you can get we'll have a reminder of that. But just for now, maybe track what you were thinking before you decided to order that product on Amazon, if you shop there. Or what were you thinking before you decided to go outside and water your plants? Or if you don't have an outside, if you have an indoor plant, what were you thinking before you opened your computer? Now go back to the feeling of me, self, I. And think about how you exist conventionally. Independence upon mind and body and name, the self's parts. So we identify very strongly with our name. But you know, when you were born, you were just baby X. And then you became Bill or Hin or Marion. You identified strongly with that name. You hear that name and your head turns. So when your body feels hungry or cold, you think, I'm hungry. I'm cold. When the mind has an idea about something, you think, I think. When you feel love for someone, you say, I love you. And when you introduce yourself, you say, I am so-and-so. Apart from this sense of I that depends upon this ever-flowing, ever-changing streams of body and mind, is there an I that is solid and changing and independent? So we have a few minutes, so let's just meditate on that for a moment and just see what you come up with. Maybe you could journal some ideas later today. And maybe look around your world and see how things are changing. You know, now the light is changing, so it's darker in the morning and in the evening. But things never stay still. Everything's always moving on a very subtle level, and things are dependent on other things. If you have a garden, you'll notice everything that's going on in there is all working as an organic whole. All the conditions coming together to create flowers, plants, fruits. You have to have the right conditions. But nothing's happening in and of itself, by itself, and everything's constantly changing. So think about this idea that you are not an inherently existing, solid person. And the beauty of that is that anything that's going on in your mind right now, anything that you feel, oh, this is impossible, it can all change. Thank goodness for impermanence. Thank goodness for cause and effect. It means we have the power to change the course of our life, to change the way we think. And we might think we have to do it in big strides, make huge gestures, but we don't. It's baby steps, baby thoughts, baby actions, one baby step at a time. So if you had any insights this morning, any positive energy that arose from this meditation, you can just dedicate it to the enlightenment of all sentient beings and to yourself. To any people in your life, send them some positive energy, any pets in your life. And this meditation is just one baby step on the path to achieving a direct insight into emptiness and cutting the root of suffering and dissatisfaction. Baby steps. Okay, everybody. Where are we? Thank you very much. Lots of love. Thank you, Lou, for hosting. Nice to see you all. And I hope to see some of you this evening.